It's spinning. It's spinning. Gooners of the world. This is the Uncensored Arsenal. What is it called? A live stream, not a podcast. I have the Ask Blogger Blackburn Georgie with me, and I'm totally confused. And on the other side is Biso. How are you doing, guys?
Doing good, thank you.
I must apologize to the
Good to be here.
world. Ever since it went daylight saving time, which I don't observe on this side of the world, I always screw up. George and I do a podcast every week. we we have a hell of a time getting together. But Shutter, you said it. You said 7 a.m. Oh, George, 7 a.m. my time. Anyway, guys, good to see you. And I'm not going to do any formalities. Blackburn George is well known to the world. The man who is very pedantic. You have been very strict about age with him. If you're 29 and a half, you are 29. George World knows you. Biso, I was a first timer when in our first broadcast, and she is going to be my permanent guest. She's a vital element, made a pioneering move when a lot of people, invitees, ducked out on me. But I'm still waiting on Ehab and on Omi. But we're gonna go ahead, and I'm sure they're gonna chime in. These guys have a lot of ideas. George, the subject is, what is Arsenal plans for the summer transfer window of 2021, and so many things have happened. We're supposed to be getting Onana, Buendia, Max Aarons, Bissouma, and it seems that their son has already set on all these options. What is going on, George? And I'm going to ask you the same thing, Biso.
Well, I've no idea what's going on, so I don't really know why you've asked me on this bloody program, really, because nobody knows what's going on.
That's exactly the point.
I don't think Arsenal know what's going on. I really don't. I don't think they know who they can sell, how much they can sell them for, who they can buy, and how much they'll have to pay for them. I just don't think they know. I think it's finger in the air stuff. This,
yes.
They'll be seeing who they can sell, who they can move, and if there's anybody left, they'll buy somebody. But I don't think there's a plan. There's not a strategic plan. And if there is, let's hope it works better than the strategic plan in the last two summer windows. Because if you remember, there were, for the last two windows, or three windows even, we've been told they were great windows at the time. They turned out to be a load of shite. And I suspect we're starting off here as a load of shite, and it'll just get worse. So the short answer is, I've no idea.
Biso, you're on Twitter responding. You must have seen those ITKs having
absolutely
going at each other.
They're having a go at each other. It's so embarrassing.
What is a tapping merchant now, Fabrizio Romano? But apparently, no, they too don't know what the hell is going on. Tell us.
I know. I mean, it's right now, it's not looking pretty, despite the fact that the window has only just opened, right? And I don't know, man. Just like George said, who knows what's going on at this club, right? Like this latest news about Buendia. This is a player who has been linked to Arsenal for the last at least 9 months. And for us to, then see a breaking news saying he's headed off to Aston Villa. They had a better offer, and he preferred the situation over there in terms of the project they're running.
Yes.
I mean, it's a little bit embarrassing,
Very embarrassing.
We can say all we want about, is Buendia the type of player we want to go after? Is it the quality? But it's just the fact that we've been after this guy for such a long time, only for us to be pipped to his signature by Aston Villa. I don't know. It's right now. It's not looking pretty. That's all I can say.
There doesn't seem to be a strategy there, as George said. But imagine losing out on a prospect to Aston Villa. Aston Villa were in the championship, I think, 3 years ago, or maybe a little bit more. They came up and went back down, and they came back up. And now this year, didn't they I'm now losing track, but didn't they are they ahead of
They
us?
finished. They finished 11th on
11th.
the table. Yeah, but they spent
So their
most of
project,
this.
so
They
their
spent most
project
of
is
the
more
season
is more
ahead of
ambitious
us.
than ours now. George,
Well,
Ehab, welcome, sir. What the hell is happening? You used to work for a scouting firm, my friend. No, and you reveal that to me, and I'm telling the public. No, you're
Yeah.
probably not practicing professionally. But what the hell is happening? How can Aston Villa have a more enlightening project than Arsenal?
I think this is going to be boring because I don't think it's a big deal, guys. It's they just put on we just put in an effort and an offer, and nobody just accepted it. They came on with more money. They wanted to pay more because they're probably selling what's his name, Grealish,
Grealish.
and they're probably gonna get and Ollie Watkins, and they're probably gonna get about 150 million for both of them. So they can afford to do it. As Arsene Wenger said, it's when you sign somebody for 30 million, you're not signing them for 30 million. You're signing them for like Thomas Partey did not cost 50 million euros. It cost 50 million euros plus 75 million euros in wages. So Thomas Partey is going to cost us 125 million euros by the time his contract is up. So the problem is not the 5 million. It's not only the 5 million. They put a better offer with better bonuses on the table, and they probably gave him a higher payout, a higher salary with a longer contract, and that's it. It's not what they promised. Like they didn't promise him a better future than Arsenal, although they're gonna have a better future than Arsenal.
Well,
Let's not mess with that.
I'll come back to that. But Ehab, Aston Villa, 11th, Arsenal, a top.
Yeah.
Well, we used to be a top 4 club. Let's call ourselves now a top 8 club. Aston Villa can put out more money than us. What is behind all of this? George, what is behind? I think you've mentioned this. We are now out of the Champions League, out of the Europa Cup. What is behind these clubs, smaller clubs, being able to offer a better deal than us?
Well, basically, they've not got the level of debt that we've got hung over us. We owe 200 million still on the stadium. Excuse me. And now this year we're gonna lose 150 million, and Kroenke's going to have to cover that. And our wages are considerably higher than theirs. And we've not got 2 players to sell, as Ehab said, for 125 million pounds. It's as simple as that. It's economics. This is the problem, you see. People are divorcing Arsenal from the economic realities of running a business. If you have a business that's going to lose you 150 million pounds this year, you have to cover that cost. Now, why would you then spend another 150 million on buying players? That stands you, the owner, at losing 300 million pounds this year, because that money's gone. Especially when they look at the purchases like Pepe and Thomas Partey that we've paid massive money for on huge wages, and they've not paid off. So where's your trust going? There's no return on investment for them. It's a very difficult business at the moment, especially during the COVID. And I just think we've got to be realistic. Where's this money going to come from? It's all right saying we should be able to outbid Aston Villa, but as Eab's just pointed out, the simple reality is we can't. At this moment in time, we can't.
But George, there's a guy called Flappy Hansky. I'm gonna call his name. He tweeted, "Oh, £10 million more for Buendia. We should be able to push the boat out some more. Omi, welcome. You're all the way in Pakistan. Do you see a transfer strategy? And I'm going to throw this to you. Since Wenger left, and I did some research because I did some research for this stream because I see a lot of streams and people don't give facts. They only give opinions. But when Wenger left the first year, and that was with Sven Mislintat making the choices of transfers, we spent approximately 85 million euros on Socrates, Lichtsteiner, Christian Bilek, you remember him? Matteo Ganduzzi, Dennis Suarez, anybody remember him? And some guy named Takuma Asano, he never even got a game. The following year, we spent 153 million euros in players' worth, not necessarily money. This is coming from transfer market, so they're giving values. We bought David Luiz, Pablo Mari, Cedric Suarez, Ceballos, Martinelli, and Pepe for 72 million. And then last year we went and spent another 102.8 million in player value on Ryan because we went and bought Renarson, who is no good. Gabriel, we went and paid for a contract for Pablo Mari, for Suarez, because those were on loan before. We spent, as we said, $45 million on Partey, and William, we spent money to give him a £200,000 a week contract. What is the strategy? We are throwing money around and going from 6th to 8th. You are in Pakistan. Do you, like me, do you see a strategy there?
I do not see any strategy, I would say, that would define a particular Arsenal, I would say, or a way that Arsenal operate in transfer market, I would say. I think at the time that Wenger left, the only weak area that we had in the team was maybe we needed one more midfielder, but apart from that, our midfield and attack was solid. I don't think that we needed anything to spend there. The only thing that we needed to spend was in the back, basically the defender and the goalkeeper. And as far as the goalkeeper is concerned, I think we got a good buy there. But as far as the defenders are concerned, I do not think that we were able to do that. And Unai Emery came in. Unai Emery
I'm
had
gonna stop
his.
you there. I'm gonna stop you there, Omi. We got a good buy in Leno, and now the talk is he might be leaving.
Yeah.
Keep going. Keep going.
Yes. And now the talk is that he might be leaving. But I think that in Unai Emery's era, or Unai Emery's basically 1.5 season, the transfer market that we had, even though the buys did not work out as we hoped, at least there was a sense of where we were going. But ever since Arteta has come in, that has gone out of the window because take last summer, God knows centre back we signed. Centre backs basically. I think we had enough centre back to basically play the back five. But sorry, is it better now?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Omi.
Okay. So the thing
you're
was
making the point that let me just tell the audience. Hang on one second. You are making the point that with Arteta coming in, he changed the focus. He went to a back five and started buying. This is that what you're saying? More defenders than usual. Is that what you're saying?
I said we bought so many defenders that we could have played back five easily, and we could have rotated that back five week in, week out.
Yes.
So the point is that you have signed so many centre backs. What that tells you, what is the strategy of our manager, that tells you. But fast forward 1.5 season, and what you see is that apart from those defenders that we signed, only few have made into the first team, and only few have been made it to a point that where we can say, okay, they are in it for the long term. So we had an issue at midfield, but that is something also that we have not uh, gone into the transfer market to solve it. We tried to, we tried to patch it up with signings like Denis Ceballos and William Party, but that hasn't worked out either.
And Dennis
So I
Suarez.
think the current transfer market that I see, yeah, Denis Suarez as well. So I think that the current transfer strategy that we have at Arsenal is kind of let's throw one big name into the mix and see how the fan reacts. And they do not care whether that will solve the squad, whether that will solve the deficiency in the squad, whether that will help us improve the squad. And I think that Pepe and William Partey over the last 2 seasons are a perfect example of this. Uh, because they are the signings that we could have basically the point is that they are the signings that are not worth the money that we basically put out there for them. And the money that you basically label against a player is something that you can basically sell to the fans, and you can say, okay, we are putting money in and we are buying players in, and let's see if you can basically uh, before the season starts, you can basically come in, buy the season tickets, and then that's all we are looking for. So I think the
So
transfer market, as far as concerned, is more now for the public rather than for the squad. That's what I
you know
think.
that's a very important. I'm gonna know if you agree, by so because in the prior period, we know our manager would never spend unless it was to address a weakness. And Ome is saying that the two past big transfers were just to placate the fans. That one being Pepe in 2018. In 20. I'm sorry, Pepe was 2019-20 last year, and then in the season just gone, Partey, they seem they haven't improved us. Are you? And I'm sure there are a lot of the few people who are watching us right now probably don't want to agree. But have they improved us? They're the two biggest signings.
Well, I think first of all, I think the signings were necessary because at the time before Pepe came in, we were crying out for a winger. We needed somebody who could carry the ball and cause some disruption and try to break down packed defenses. So it was a signing that we needed. Um, but I think the type of player that he is was not exactly one that fitted into the plan of the manager. So we could not build around both him and Aubameyang. So I think that was the problem there with the Pepe signing. But we did need a winger. Perhaps the style of winger we got was not what we should have gotten, but well, here you go. And then with Partey signing, I mean, we know for since 2015 when Santi got injured, we still have not addressed that midfield and gotten a proper balance for us to to go on to move on from there. And so the Partey signing was also important. But unfortunately, with the injury, with Partey's form being so patchy, you know, we didn't really get the benefits of the transfer. We're hoping that as we go into the next season, we will see the benefits of and the importance of Partey growing the team. But so far it's been 0 for 2, you would say, because when we think of how much we actually did spend on Pepe, you would expect to have much better return by now. If that is due to the player himself or the coach or how he's managed or the system that we're playing that doesn't suit him, that doesn't play to his strengths, we don't know, right? So I agree that Arsenal needs to be much, much smarter in terms of knowing what exactly we're playing and buying the players that are fit for purpose. We should not be going out to buy names and say, okay, well, the fans want to see a big name signing. Let's go and splash this money on this player and then bring that player in. The coach does not know how to use that player. The player himself is, starts to get unhappy because he's not being used in the right way, he's not being managed in the right way. So we need to be smarter all around, right?
But
So
that is, but that
I
is what
agree
you.
with Obi.
But that is what you would hope. That is what you would hope that would be form part of a strategy, right? And George and I have discussed this a lot of times on our podcast, and I'm going to come to him and Ehab. What what was the strategy? What was the strategy behind Pepe, for instance? Okay, you sold. Remember, they sold the youngster there to Everton.
Iwobi.
Iwobi, who was the winger, but he used to play left-sided. He used to play a little half, what they call a half forward. But this other guy is an out and out winger, and his combinations with the midfielders are not. They are, to be charitable, not very good. So I'm wondering what was it? What was the it is for Emery? What was the strategy? Similarly with Partey, you have Xhaka as your midfielder. What is Partey going to add to the party? Pardon the pun. Blackburn George and Ehab. What? How were these guys supposed to fit in as part of a transfer strategy? I thought about this, and the answer
There's
that I'm not sure.
there's no
George.
transfer strategy. There is
Okay,
no transfer
Ehab, go ahead.
strategy. I'm
Go ahead,
sorry,
Ehab.
but the thing is, anything we have bought after Arsene Wenger could be just salvaged and sold today. We don't need them. None of them. Not even KT. Not even Turney. How much better has KT given us over Montreal?
Well,
What we can
I
do
was
is,
going to mention that.
yeah, just sell. Just
Oh,
no,
he
not a
perhaps is a
single
better
signing.
crosser.
Not a single signing. Not a single signing is necessary. The 300 sold, the 200 million wasted, the 100 million spent on buying out people's wages in the January transfer window, and the 54 million spent on Ozil while he's on the bench. This is all a waste. There's no business in the world that can survive that. I don't care what you do. This is what's going on is not a single player that we have signed is necessary. Give me Holding and Chambers with Bayern and Montreal, and whoever in goal. Just the 5 million for a keeper, 10 million for a keeper. Just put him in goal. Give me Chaka and Ramsey in the middle, with Aobi on one side, Saka on the other side, ESR in the middle, and Obama Yang as a striker with Lacazette, Eddie Nketiah, Neni, who else? With a packed
Joe
bench.
Willock. Joe Willock.
Zero spent. Maitland Niles, Joe Willock.
Yes.
Let these people grow. This Balogun, the young guy. We have also a couple of guys in Syrian and another guy in the youth teams. And this is how you build a team. This is how you build a team. This is how you make a team compete. Arsene Wenger could have kept us in top four with these people. He would have re-signed Santi, re-signed Welbeck as a bench warmer. As people tell you that since Christmas, we have been the second best team in the league. Since Christmas, Danny Welbeck has outscored Aubameyang. This goes both ways. People
Yes.
don't talk about this. People don't say
But he's
anything
playing
about
for.
this. But
But he's playing for Brent.
and this is Danny Welbeck after 3 years of injuries. You know, we could have easily kept those players, kept those guys, and they're like, oh, but we got 30 million for Aobi. 30 million is what Don Raul made on the side on the Pepe deal. You know, this is 30 million is what Mrs. Sanelli spent on a boat, for example, just because he's been working here. So this is useless, man.
George.
This is
But
really useless
George,
the
Ehab.
way it's run.
Ehab, I'm going to ask George if he agrees with you.
Okay.
Because Biso says that those signings were necessary, but they didn't work out. You say they were, well, more or less, you said they were total waste. George, where do you stand on this?
Right. First of all, they have turned out to be a total waste. But as Biso said, is that because of them or because of the manager? And this is my worry. Let's look at this guy that we've just been talking about that Aston Villa wanted.
When, dear?
He's outstanding at Norwich, yeah?
No, yeah, Norwich. Yes, correct.
So was Pepe at Lille.
Yes.
So was Partey at Atleti. You can look, whatever players that we're thinking of buying, imagine them playing for Arsenal. Now imagine them playing half as well, because that's what will happen. So it's not fair to judge Pepe and say, oh, he's been crap, because they've all been crap relative to how they can play and how they should play. So the whole transfer strategy is, it doesn't really matter, because if you can't get the players playing well to the standard they're able to play for, it doesn't matter who you buy. There's all a waste of money, all of it. And
If I
you
may
can get,
interrupt, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. If I may interrupt, I'm really sorry, but this is it. This is what he's talking about. What the negative side of Arteta that nobody is seeing is he's drove down the price of everyone. Like
Well, yeah.
Aubameyang, put him on City team, he will score 30 goals next season, and they will sell him for like 100 million. But we cannot do that. Partey, put him in City team, or in Manchester United instead of Fred. Xhaka, put him in Manchester United, or put him in Liverpool team next to Fabinho, and he will be worth 80 million. He's drove down everybody's price. We can't get 25 or 30 million for Pepe today, even after his form. And there's no strategy. There's so much waste going on, and no business can withstand this. I'm sorry to
I-
interrupt. You guys can go ahead.
George, you want to wrap up there on that point, George?
that's basically what I was going to say. Arteta has reduced the value of everybody in the squad. I mean, Bellerin, we're talking about loaning him out now to Betis.
He was a $40 million player going
He
to
was.
Barcelona.
Yeah, or Barcelona wanted him, PSG wanted him, Christ, even Manchester City wanted him. They only took Kyle Walker because they couldn't get Bellerin.
Correct.
So he's now not worth a fucking light. And Aubameyang, we've paid him £350,000 a week or whatever. There's no chance of us selling him. No chance. Nobody's going to buy him at his age off the back of last season on £300,000 a week. So he's worth nothing now. Aubameyang is worth nothing.
Did you see LT? Did you see LT Arsenal? Who is one of these people who's
Wanker. Is that the word you're
not just a wanker, but he's one of those people who carries the bucket for the club. And he wrote a tweet earlier this week slagging. He didn't even mince in words, George. Slagging Aubameyang. Just to make your point. He was saying he's not worth. He signed a contract to get £350,000 a week in last summer, not summer gone last year, and he's not worth it. And this is a guy. This is a guy who doesn't waste any opportunity to pander to fans.
Well,
it was stunning.
Let me give you an example here. The best example going around at the moment. N'Golo Kante, people are talking about him being for the Ballon d'Or, or whatever you want to call it, saying he's fantastic. He had a great season at Chelsea. He should be player of the season. Go back 6 months, and he was fucking rubbish. He couldn't get a game. And when he did play, it was crap because he was being played in the wrong system, in the wrong position. So he looked awful. Now, it's the same. Put him in the right system, in the right position, and all of a sudden, he looks like the best centre holding midfielder in the league.
Yes, correct.
Well, that's exactly the same with every single player. And that's exactly what's happened to every player at Arsenal. Most of them have played out of position in a bad system. So you can't really tell. I say time and time again, and Ehab says this as well, this is a good squad. This is not a bad squad. I keep reading on Twitter people saying, with this squad, what do you expect Arteta to do? I'll tell you what I expect him to do. I expect him to come minimum of 5th. Minimum. Anything else might be a bonus, but fifth, because it's a good squad. We're talking as if it's a relegation squad. And the reason we're talking about like it's a relegation squad is they all play so badly in a bad system that they look poor players. So play them in the right positions, play them in an attack. Arsene Wenger would have this team attacking. And we're not going to get Arsene Wenger back, but we've got to get rid of this. If we don't get rid of Arteta, he's got to get rid of this negative system that makes our players look good and brings the value down. Nobody wants to buy our players. I mean, Jacques has been our most consistent player this season, and we'll be lucky if we get £15 million for him because he doesn't look that good, even when he's our best player, because the system's awful.
But you know,
and it's just time and time again where you buy a player like Pepe, 70 odd million. You'd be lucky to get 25 million for him. Aubameyang, he's worth nothing. Absolutely nothing. Lacazette, you'd be lucky to get 10 million for him. Who else have we got? Who can we sell?
Joe Willock. George,
how can we fucking sell?
Hang on a second, George.
And we've got to send them out on loan.
That brings me to the question. Right, that brings me to the question. What are we now in this transfer season? A buying club or a selling club? Omi, and I buy so. What? Yeah, I want to hear your alternate point of views because the common argument and those flacks who are fronting for the club, and I call some of them names already. They're on Twitter, you know, and they're fighting amongst themselves to get notoriety right now. They're saying that Xhaka will be sold, Bellerin will be sold, Willock will be sold, and they have a brand new setup. We spoke about the brand new toys they're going to bring in. But isn't the market expecting us to buy rather, with the sale of these players? Omi, what's your thought? I'm gonna come to you by some. I haven't forgotten you.
Should I feel we are in a cycle now? A cycle of basically that this is post-Wenger that I'm talking about. A cycle of where a team finishes a season in a position where they are criticized, and then a manager says, "Okay, these are not my players. These are players of the past, and let's clean them out. Let's blood the squad basically. Let's clean the squad. Let's throw all the dirt out, and let's make it clean." We saw it in Unai Emery season, 1.5 season as well, and we are kind of seeing it now as well because with Unai Emery it was Arsene Wenger squad. We see players like Ramsey, Mesut Ozil, and all of those, Koscielny and things like that, and players like that basically go out of the team basically. And now we are kind of same. So the names that you are hearing, Xhaka, Bellerin, then you have Leno, then you have Lacazette. They are all kind of not Arteta's players, and I think we are in this cycle. And I don't know if this is a cycle that is going to end soon. So to come to your question, I'm not sure that considering that the cycle that I basically explained, I'm not sure that whether I can classify Arsenal as a buying club or a selling club because we are more of kind of let's clean this out. In between basically, let's clean this out. Let's in the blame game kind of basically to put the blame basically on the old regime. Okay, so that the current regime is not the reason that we finished 8th. The current regime is not the reason that we are in this shithole. That is the old regime, and that is the old kind. I think so. This is the mentality that is the heart of Arsenal right now, and that's what I feel.
I'll ask Bison the same question, Omi. Bison, are we a buying or selling club right now? What is your thought?
Right now, in this very moment, I think we should be a selling club because with no Europe in sight for next season, we don't need as many players, right? So we're going to have to sell a lot more than we actually bring in on board. So, yeah. We're going to have to sell players.
By the way,
right now, it's a buyer's market because of the COVID and because the finances have been hit. So lots of clubs don't have a lot of money, right, to buy
Yeah.
players. And when you're a club that needs to sell, they know that they have you, right? And they're going to, bid ridiculous amounts for your players, and you may not have a choice but to take them. So
Correct, correct. And
we're not in a good
Vice,
position.
it's very
We're not in a
important.
good bargaining position.
By the way, just talking about squad size. Do you realize?
Yeah.
I know we are all saying that the squad is big, but relative to like the other clubs, our squad size is 27 because we couldn't fill out our homegrown
Yes, yes, yeah,
allotment,
absolutely. I
and
agree. And I
he
think I
shipped them
mentioned
out.
that. Yeah,
So
I
he's gonna.
mentioned that to someone saying, this rhetoric about us having an over bloated squad it doesn't make sense because the reason why we couldn't register some players was that we could not fill the homegrown quota, right?
Right.
And we had too many of the foreign quota available to us, So, but the reason why I mentioned the squad size is because now without Europe, we don't need as many players, so we're going to have to downsize anyway. So
So
at
that's
this
why
point in time, we're going to have to sell more than we buy.
But guys, he hasn't filled the homegrown quota, but he's selling off a lot of the homegrown players, or sending them off, as we just said, to other clubs. I mean, the whole strategy, it I can't figure it out because in comparison, just let me tell you this: Chelsea had 30 odd people in their squad, right? And they went and bought Gallagher and some other guys from English clubs and from Scottish clubs. Liverpool did the same thing. They went and get all these centre backs from just to fill out their homegrown quota. I don't know what we are trying to do by so. I'm going to throw this out as a last question. We're at 37 minutes. I'm not going to drag this out. What do you guys? I'm going to go through you individually. At the end of the day, after he's seeing the ITKs, Fabrizio, LT, Charles Watts, and a whole lot spreading rumors that they have unfounded rumors and then turning on each other. At the end of the day, what will you expect Arsenal will do? What is Arteta's? What do you expect? Just throw out something. It's all speculation. It's all opinion. Just like the ITKs. Who you think they're gonna sign, or what will they do at the end of this transfer window? Remembering it's the Euro, and there'll be no major activity, no signings until after that competition is over. Have you given any thought? Who in your opinion is gone, and who might replace you, or and who needs replacement? Let me put it at that. George, you.
Well, you're not going to get me to play this game because you know absolutely.
People are hanging on your words, George. Somebody
No.
just said that you nailed it in the chat over here. Keep going.
Well, I nailed it because I didn't nail my colours to the mast because I have no idea, and I think Bellerin will go. Get fuck all for him. We'll have to give Kolasinac away because they can't buy him. He's coming back now. We'll have to try and give him away. We'll have to give a couple of centre backs away because we won't sell them. But when I say give them away, we're talking peanuts. I think Xhaka wants out. I don't think we can keep him. It's like we're talking about upgrading him. This is spin from these people. We're not upgrading on Xhaka. He's fucking off. He's doing what he told us to do. We should fuck off. We haven't, so he's going to do it instead. And we would love to get rid of Aubameyang because we're in the same position we were with Ozil, that we're paying him far more than the value we're getting out of him. I just have no idea what we'll do. Like Bio said, we have to trim the squad. They're not saleable assets, so we won't get a big return. We've got £150 million debt to cover. So where's that money coming from? I honestly haven't a clue, and I'm absolutely convinced Arteta and Edu have less idea than me. Honestly, I don't think they know what they're fucking doing. It's an absolute shambles.
Well, George, Seven Mislintat will agree. You said our entire transfer strategy is a mess. That is his quote. It's a mess. There's no rhyme, no reason to it. And okay, he might be bitter because he was fired, but
He should be bitter. He should be bitter. He was the only one doing a half decent job, and we fucking sacked him. Of course, he's
Right.
fucking bitter.
Right. Well, and sold off his players. Got rid of his player, the players, most of the players he kept. Only Leno is still with us. Yeah, bye. So, what do you expect? Be be an ITK for once.
Man, the ITKs are having a ITK war on one side, so I don't want any part of that war.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like Bellerin is definitely so. Those that are leaving the club, I think Bellerin will definitely leave. We have 6 centre backs right now.
Yes, I know.
We're going to have to sell at least 2 of them. I would like to see. Ooh, man, it's so hard, right? Because it doesn't look.
Well. Just a minute, bye. So, David Lewis has made your job easier.
No. I mean, we're 6. It's 6 now because you're talking about Mavropanos, Saliba, Callum Chambers, Rob Holding, Gabriel, and Marie. So it's 6.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not even counting David Luiz, right?
Yeah,
And we only need to go into the season with 4, and we're being linked with another centre back. So if we are getting another centre back, then that's 7. So what do we do with all of these centre backs, right?
Sell them for peanuts.
They're probably fucking.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably what's going to happen is that we're going to sell them for peanuts.
George is covering his face. He's literally covering his face in the stream. He can't believe it. Omi, what is your prediction? What is gonna happen in terms of outs and ins? You're an ITK for the day.
Well, sure, as far as the expectations are concerned, it's a long time since I last expected anything from Arsenal, I would say. So currently, as far as the transfer market is concerned, in my opinion, the areas that we need a player is definitely midfield. But that is my point of view. I feel that we do not have any creative player there, or a creative midfielder, or a ball carrier, basically. Because truth be told, we haven't been able to replace Aaron Ramsey, a player that we basically let go for free. Because we didn't wanted to give him a contract that we have happily handed to. We had basically happily handed to players like Mkhitaryan, David Luiz, and Aubameyang. And I think, but are we going to sign anyone that will basically solve that problem? I do not think that is that straightforward, because firstly, you do not have many players in market that are kind of that basically come into in that category, and the one that do come are very expensive, and even after that, you have to think that if they are expensive and if we are able to get the man that we want, even then can Arteta get the best out of him? That is another question entirely. So I think as far as the transfer is concerned, there are a lot of areas that we are lacking, and the key for me is the midfield. But who we are going to sign and what we are going to sign, I think there I do not have any confidence. I would say, I'd say that we are in a position that in which there are many established players of Arsenal who would look to jump the ship rather than to stay another season and sink with it. And I think as far as the Arteta is concerned, I think the start of season is going to be very important for him, because if that is not right, things can go south very quickly, just like they did with Unai Emery. And with players leaving and all of that, I think we are already starting off with a bad path and a bad step, I would say.
Ehab, you have been listening to everyone. Who you expect out? Who do you expect in? Or what areas do you expect Arteta to address? By the way, before you answer that though, I was just here thinking about sales. You remember we said we Iwobi to Everton and got 24 million pounds, and there were people complaining we didn't get enough. Those were good days, guys. 20 odd million pounds for Iwobi. That was
Yeah,
after he scored a goal in the Europa League final, and and Wenger made a player out of him. Can you imagine that? Can we get 24 million pounds for anybody right now? Jesus Christ. Keep on the hab.
now the thing is, there's something that I've been told like 20 years ago, that if your manager and director get the approval of the fans, then you shouldn't be paying them. You simply has the wrong manager and the wrong director, because why should I pay them when I can pick somebody off Twitter for free and let them make the same decisions? And this is what they're doing, what we talked about. We are going to let people like Bellerin go, like Chaka, like Lacazette and Aubameyang. If we can let them go, we're gonna let them go. When does it stop? I mean, I've said this when we didn't re-sign Cazorla and we benched Ozil, and I said, what makes us so sure that Ramsey is going to re-sign with us? And there's nothing. This is what we are going to do. If we start losing people, next, Emmett Smith Rowe and Saka and Willock are going to come to an extension year, and they won't be they will not go for an extension. They will just be sold for the lowest price possible, because they have a year left on their account, and they're gonna go. And how long are we gonna keep getting rid of the dead wood? You know, we've just paid 100. Yeah, we've just paid 120 million in buyouts, or 20 million in buyouts in the summer and the winter for Mustafi, Ozil, and Kolasinac. And
Did we
yeah,
no?
we
We didn't
bought
buy
them
out.
off.
We saw. Well, did we pay some
We
of his wages at Schalke? Probably did. Yeah. Go. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Probably
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's this, yeah, of course, and they haven't played in a while. So now we are going to get rid of Chaka, Bellerin, Leno, and Lacazette. They're not gonna total up to like 50 million, which was what we paid for Party. You cannot keep doing this. This is actually Wenger's fault. He's made enough money for those idiots to keep wasting it and look good, and still have the illusion that we are a top club. We are not. I've seen this a million times. I've seen when Blackburn in 1995 had more revenue than us. In 1995, Blackburn Rovers had a higher revenue than Arsenal Football Club. They are now, I think, in the third division, aren't they? This is the
Probably. I
false.
don't. I don't. I don't even know. George, you're from Blackburn. Where are
If
they now?
if we give Arteta more than 100 million to spend, and he stays around eighth or ninth, like Omi said, or like Baiso said, he's going to get fired. A new manager is going to come in, and now a new manager needs another 200 million, and he needs to get rid of 100 million worth of players. And this is another 300 million to 600 million already wasted, and 100 million in summer. That's £1 billion in 4 years. And a club that's worth £2 billion cannot lose £1 billion in 4 years and stay eighth or ninth or tenth. It's much closer than people think. This is the reality in business and life. You cannot have 4 losing years. Not in business. If you have a lemonade stand, you cannot do it. Not a $2 billion club. So this is what's going on.
Hmm.
The only way to save this club, if you're gonna keep Arteta, wait for him to learn, spend nothing, sell nobody, buy nobody, because he himself, when he learns in a couple of years, he's going to think, oh, I need somebody like Bayern, and we're gonna go out and fullbacks don't grow in trees. Fullbacks are rare. They're not expensive, but they're rare. You know why they're not expensive? Because the position is not a scoring position. It's not an it's still thought of as not an important position. But there's a reason why Barcelona have Dest, and they still keep Jordi Alba. There's a reason why Real Madrid doesn't have a backup for Carvajal till this day. There's a reason Hakimi, who hasn't featured in Real Madrid time, was sold for 35 million to Inter Milan. Smart managers realize that. That's why Pep spent 50 million on each fullback, because he has the money. That's why Conte spent money on the fullbacks and got the guy from Manchester United, Ashley Young, just to play in that position. This is smart managers realize that, and we are going to throw one of the best in the world in Bayern. And I know this is going to get a lot of Twitter people just riled up right now. You cannot praise Bayern or Chaka on this platform, and you're gonna throw him away for 15 million or loaning him to Betis, and you're never going to replace him. And how do you know that Maitland-Niles is going to come back after how we treated him?
And he's
Or
not
how
a
do you know that
fullback.
Chambers is not going to leave when it's time to leave? Or, Kieran Tierney or anybody. There's no loyalty in football. Wenger built some kind of loyalty up to 40%, 30% to a player. Well, if he's getting 30% more, he will less here, he will stay because of somebody is talking to him like a person. These people, they're young millionaires. They don't need. I've sat with them. Of did negotiations of did contracts. They don't need the money. They need the money, but all they need is to feel respected because they have a huge pride. They want somebody to connect to them. They want somebody to talk to them, like good morning, what's up, what's going on with your mom? Is she still okay? Something like this. When Wenger got up from the table and we brought in this Josh, the son of the billionaire, and he wanted to run it like a business, we lost that immediately. If somebody getting 10,000 a week more, he's leaving. That's it. It's a business now. So we lost this, and
Uh,
I don't think the people we are going to lose. We are going to lose. We are not going to replace. We paid 100 million so far to replace Ramsey, and we're not even close.
Not
We
even.
paid, yeah, we paid. We haven't replaced Ayobi, for fuck's sake. Ayobi, Wenger kept Ayobi because he was learning from Ozil, and he wanted to keep Ayobi for the next 3 years next to Ozil. When Ayobi is 26, he's moving him to Cam. This was the plan. We will never replace Ozil. We lucked out with Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe was going out on loan when Arteta drew his name out of a hat, and he just went into the lineup, and he had a blinding game against in the
Chelsea.
Europa League.
Chelsea.
Then he had him in Chelsea, and then they thought, oh, he's the future. And there's no plan to anything. We shouldn't let anybody go. We should leave everybody in the squad, spend nothing for a couple of years, and then we go back to it. That's my whole thing.
Can I just say,
We know that. George, final words.
Spurs have just tried to get Conte as a manager, and they've been totally unable to do it. It's not because they can't pay him enough wages, it's because they can't promise him enough money to be successful. And we're in the same position. It's all right saying get rid of Arteta, and I'm all in favour of getting rid of Arteta, but we ain't getting a top-class manager in to replace him because we simply aren't that club anymore. We're not. We've got to tailor our expectations of what players we can have and what managers we can have. We can't get Conte or Pep Guardiola or whoever else happens to come on the market because we're not that club anymore. We can't imagine saying to Conte, will you come to Arsenal? What's my budget? We're eighth. What's my budget? What's my budget? Well, you haven't fucking got one, cock. If you can sell some of the players, well, you haven't got anybody to sell. No, I'm not coming. No. Well, he's not even gone to. And look at the squad that Spurs have. He wasn't there. He wasn't going.
In transfer market, their squad is worth more than ours, 600 and something million euros, while ours is 530 million euros.
Yeah. and he wouldn't go because they can't guarantee him enough money to make his squad challenge for honours. And we're in a worse position than them. We are. We're in a worse position than Spurs.
And you, Biso, final words? Final words on transfers?
Fingers crossed.
Omi, toes crossed. Omi?
Well, I don't know what is going to happen basically because it is Arsenal after all, and but I do think that we are going to try and sign one of the big names that are going to come in. Are we going? But can we sustain it or not? That is another thing. But I think we are in a new reality, I would say, and the sooner that we understand that, the better. And I completely agree with Ihab on the point. I think that let's not give Arteta the money that and just let him basically play with what he has currently. But I do not feel that we can have any say on the fact that we keep the players that we currently have. I think there is a thing about that as a club you want to sign players, but Arteta themselves want to leave the club. I think we are kind of in the second boat rather than the first. But I hope that does not happen. But I do not see how one or two big names are not going to leave because we are out of Europe, and I don't think so that with the other seven clubs that are above us and the money that they have at their disposal, the squad they have at their disposal, they are not going to spend on it, and they are not going to be again try to get better than us. And how we're going to compete with them, that is a big question mark. So as far as as far as there is no basically a direct route back to Champions League, I would say it is not like that we have a season without Europe and we can basically do it because we have a season. We do not have a midweek fixture. It's not like that. It doesn't happen like that. And I feel that we are with fans back in the stadium. There is going to be a different environment as well than we had last season. And when you consider all of that, I think that I feel that it's going to go down soon rather than up. That's how I feel.
Well,
And I don't think the transfer market will be able to help in that regard much because it's going to bring in more frustration rather than more hope.
True.
well, thank you guys. We have done 57 minutes and we're not going to prolong this. I want to thank you. The strategy for the transfer market by this group from that the Uncensored Arsenal brought together is not very optimistic. Unlike the ITKs who are killing themselves, who are over themselves, that will sign Osana, Bissouma, Max Aarons, name it. We are very concerned about the financials of the club, the coaching and the management of the players. And it's not we together. I think I'm summarizing by saying that we are very cautious and don't see even an easy route back to the top six next year. Thank you very much, guys. We do this every Saturday. Listeners, subscribe to this live stream. We'll be doing it every Saturday during the off season. Of course, obviously, when football begins, Saturdays are not available to us. But please tune in. This is a project of mine. We'll see how it goes. We'll take it from week to week. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All righty.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.